Hello and welcome to the Rover Ramble podcast. My name's Rover and welcome to another episode of the show. Each month I'm joined by different special guests from Ramble Conversation. So without further ado, let's introduce today's guests. Yes, guests. Today I'm joined by co-founder Sam of Casa Nirvana and an admin from the community, Matty. Both of you, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
How are you both doing?
Fantastic.
Can't complain at
Brilliant.
all. Doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear it, and I'm happy because, as I was just saying to you before we start recording, I got my intro first time there, so I'm gonna have to start a streak here. It really is a miracle. I was in back of my head, I was thinking you're gonna mess up, but here we are. We've done well.
Brilliant.
I'm impressed. I did hold myself back from saying anything.
That's great.
Brilliant. So generally at the start of the podcast, we have a little catch up about what we've been up to recently. So Sam, what have you been up to recently?
Well, in what I call real life, I work a lot, but as you know very much, in spare time, we just did a big charity event for Mind, which Matty was a big help in. And besides that, I don't know, there's been not too much else going on. It's been very rainy where I live.
Yeah, very same story here. It is absolutely hammering it down right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, work,
How about you,
Minecraft,
Matty? What have you been up to recently?
Not a lot, really. Looking after a little one, working, busy with the charity side of things as well. Speaking of which, someone has just woken up all of early, a lot earlier than they planned.
We have our third podcast guest.
Oh, yes, we do, but he's going to stay asleep and quiet, I think.
Yeah,
If you hear a little
Brilliant.
one say hello in the background.
yeah, that'll be it.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think it's been a similar story over here. Just it feels like it's been a busy month, but then I struggle to think what I've actually done.
Yeah, how are
but
you
here we
doing?
are. Yeah, not bad. We've had a busy week on the Amathcraft SMP server. It was our first team week, which is something a little bit different. So sort of finishing up a lot of projects, and yeah, it was interesting, something different, which was nice to do. Break up regular SMP gameplay. But yeah, it's so nice to be sitting down and being able to have a nice conversation. So today, our general conversation topic is going to be about using Minecraft as a tool for fundraising. And that's a very broad topic, but the reason we've gone for that, if you don't already know, listeners, Sam and Matty, Sam is a co-founder of the Casa Nirvana Gaming Community, Matty is an admin of that community, and every year they have hosted a fundraising event. And this year it only happened a couple of weeks ago, am I right in saying?
Yeah.
And for the Mind charity, and I believe, am I right in saying you raised over £3,000, which is insane. That's tons of money.
Yes.
It was amazing.
for a charity. So, so what's the history of Casa Nirvana? I don't know which one of you two wants to explain, but
Yeah.
what is Casa Nirvana? Where did it start, and how's it come to where it is today?
Yeah, so I can kind of dive into that. So we have both an SMP/gaming community, which is a private gaming community, but we're all very passionate about putting good back into the world. So we also have our separate charity community, which is really open to our extended Minecraft family, which is how we think of it. We have that open to UHC communities, other SMPs, other gaming communities that might just happen to play Minecraft. And I don't know, I kind of feel like different Minecraft communities are kind of like known for different things, or some communities might be known for streaming or doing YouTube series, or known for playing UHCs a lot, and we've kind of always been the community that's been, I don't know, we just always gather everybody together and host charity events. That's kind of been our thing. And other communities do as well, by the way. We're not the only ones that do that, but that's kind of always been like what kind of brings us together as a group. I think a lot of us in Casa Nirvana really just have that passion and really want to put some good back into the world. And we really enjoy seeing everybody come together every year. And it's a fun time. So yeah, with our charity history, the majority of our events have been towards different communities, different charities for mental health awareness. This started back in 2016 with Ditch the Label, and we've done all different types of events as well. So that was a 2-day event. We raised £1,200, and we did a second one for Ditch the Label, and this was actually when Ditch the Label expanded. They're a charity for anti-bullying, which is really amazing, and they expanded from the UK into the US, and so we did a second one for them, and we did a big 24-hour event and raised again £1,100 in 2017. And then in summer 2017, we did another one for Young Minds, which is another mental health charity. Raised again almost £1,200, and that was another 24-hour event. And then we kind of had like a little break. Fee started to have kids, and I was working a lot. So we
two good excuses.
Yeah.
Two good excuses.
That's a terrible excuse. Wow.
It was, it was a little like real life dip there.
How could you? How could you?
Yeah. But then we got back into it. We were like, it's a little overdue. We need to get back into this. Everybody in our Discord was like, when are you doing another charity event?
We came back strong, though. We came back strong.
We did. We came back real strong. So there were a couple people within our extended community who are affected by MS, and we wanted to really do something great for them. And so we did a fundraising event for MS Ireland. That was in June 2020. And we came back really strong, which was super exciting. That had been our biggest event at the time. We raised over £3,000. And that was just a 1-day event too. So that was really incredible. That was like such a highlight day.
Pretty sure that was the one I first helped host as well. Coincidence?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
not.
Matty became a big part of things back then. Yeah.
Grab the credit.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And then we just had the one for Mind. And I remember, Rover, actually the one with MS Ireland, that was the event that you watched, because we had we put out our little form for people who wanted to join future events, and you wrote into that form. So that's kind of how we connected, because you were like, I want to participate in this. And I don't know if you had heard about us prior to that, but I saw you in the chat.
My way of coming across you guys was you actually invited a community I was a part of in 2020. So that was our Hermitcraft UHC group you invited, and I saw it. I was like, this sounds like a great opportunity to get involved. I don't think I was able to play on the day, but I was firing off tweets like nobody'd ever seen before. I was in the comments sections like, God, let's get active, people.
Yeah.
And then you expanded. You wanted to get in contact with new people and things. So I saw this forum, got part of it, and So this year we brought in a Mathcraft, which played in the UHC, which was absolutely awesome. I know the team that played absolutely loved it, loved raising the money. It was absolutely incredible experience for us all. We as a group, we're so thrilled to be a part of this community, and we just want to, I'm sure as you do, just want to see it keep growing and doing bigger and better things. Because obviously only a few weeks ago, you raised another over £3,000
Yep, so
for an amazing charity.
that was
It's
for
just incredible.
Mind for this year's event. Raised over £3,000, and that was just a 2-day event. So another, and this was again our biggest event in terms of the number of people and communities involved. And so that was just like another home run, and to be able to raise so much for a great charity, we really couldn't ask for more.
It's been absolutely just incredible watching it, even over the past 2 years when I've just been it was just watching and trying to contribute where I can, bringing a team. It's just been incredible. The community you've built is just amazing. It's such a wonderful group to be a part of. The conversations are great. There's such a wide range of diverse individuals. It's absolutely amazing groups and communities. It's such a nice way to tie different communities and groups together. Even though they come from such a wide range of different places, like I said earlier, that you've got Minecraft SMP groups, you've got people that just like playing UHCs, you've got content creators, you've got streamers, you just got casual players.
Now there's map makers in there too, which was kind of new this year. We had a lot of new map makers in there, which was really awesome. Matty was able to play some of the maps that we had the map makers in the Discord, which was really cool. So yeah, it's really expanding in a lot of ways, and it's an organic growth too, which is neat to see.
Honestly, it just surprises me how many sort of where everyone's from. I mean, I generally, when I first thought and joined, it was essentially just sort of the UK and America. As we've gone on, I think we've got near enough someone from all over the world. Like, I know we've got people from Australia, Africa, South America, Canada, generally most places, and it is really amazing how much it's growing in places.
It's absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, the way you go about raising the money, obviously, because that's the big thing we're talking about today, is how do you actually go about doing that? How can you make a difference? It's great saying, charity event, but you actually need to raise that money. It's only so good making that possible. Now, the way you guys say you do your big stream day, so it's usually either 1 or 2 days, you have lots of mini games going on. So Matty, I wanted to ask you a little bit about it, being an admin. How do you go about this from once you decide as a group, okay, we're doing a charity event, how do you go about deciding, right, what mini games are we going to play? How are we going to make this work? How do we play test them? What's that process like for you?
The process for me when I first started it, I was confused. I was sat down just like weighing over my head. Luckily, we do it normally through Sticky Piston. They've got sort of free trial servers we use quite a lot. They actually got a lot more involved this year as well, helped. So I think it was Cosmic I was speaking to. He obviously does it himself, sort of posts mini games on a regular basis. He goes, suggest all these different games, or you can try this one. Obviously, they have a more tailored sort of design, like what games they go through, but gives me a good idea. It's then more a case of trying to decide what's going to work best for ourselves. So when I'm running through it, I've got to take into consideration lots of different things. So how many people are going to play? Some games are designed for 2-3 people, that's it. If we're going to have 10 people, it's a bit pointless and makes the game bad, and then vice versa. If it's done for a large number of people, the games could end up running a lot longer than we planned to. What I normally do is I'll just go through the game, see what we've played previously, look into some of the newer games, what's similar, and what I think the community will generally like, or what I may consider that'd work well for ourselves. And for several weeks, sort of before any charity event, we'll do sort of every Saturday, or even just around a week if people are up for it. We'll just test a few games, throw them up, play a few rounds, see what people think. Is it enjoyable? Is it sort of difficulty level? And mainly actually is more the replayable factor. So some games you can play once and then you go back to it, it's like, I didn't enjoy it as much this time. So I've got to make sure you can play it several different times, several different ways, just so everyone is enjoying it on that side of things. But yeah, that's generally the things is, obviously I've got to make sure people are actively enjoying in it. Probably the most difficult thing I find is trying to get people to engage in it. So most people, when they join, obviously, the Discord, you don't know many other people. Like, So, for example, when we first set up, I was speaking to people I've never spoken to. Obviously, they might be the only person they know in the chat. They might not recognize anyone. They've just joined in. So it's trying to get that engagement from people, which is probably the most difficult part. So I think that's why Sam and V essentially adopted me and picked me for this, is because I'm quite loud. I try to be excited all the time, very sort of speak quite often, just make sure everyone
Matty
is
brings
having
the
fun.
chaos.
Yeah, essentially is, and then there's the more fun side of things. Well, that I have to do because I was told I was good at it, is what Sam likes to call Matty proofing. I have to make sure you can't break a game, essentially. So part of, before I was an admin, we'd run sort of mini games through Casa Nirvana, have a good laugh with it. And for some reason, my objective every single time was not necessarily to win a game, but to see if I could break it in any way.
Well,
So,
Matty, I think we even need to go way before that, like pre-admin, with how this all started.
we don't need to go back to the creative server, Sam. No. We don't want to go back.
I feel like there's some history here.
So
I very nearly wasn't part of this community.
So we just in our SMP community, we would run weekly minigame events. And before Matty was actually an admin, he was always the one who would just try and like escape the map that we were playing, like while we were like, in our setup. And sometimes, like, if he would do that, I'd have to like reset the game in order to make it work, because that was just how like some of the maps worked back in the day, and with how things worked. And I would always be like, Matty, what are you doing? But you know, nowadays that's his job, so no.
Matty, you've managed to make a role for yourself by just breaking games. I mean, congratulations.
Basically, yeah. So having a good laugh, creating a bit of chaos, and things turned out well, apparently. I don't know how. Generally, the end.
Now, you mentioned...
So go on.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about... so obviously, you host all these mini-games. It tends to, from my experience of being a part of this community, it culminates in a big UHC event, which is obviously really popular across all Minecraft spectrums. Anyone can really get involved with UHC, however bad you are at PvP. Which, I'll tell you what, I am very bad. But yeah, you see, so you've got all these massive events, but obviously there's a lot of logistics behind it, which you sort of touched on, sort of play testing the games, making sure they work, making sure you can't break them. How do you do the logistics? I think you mentioned Sticky Piston. So are they a hosting company? Do they? How do they support you in your role? Do you have to communicate with them all? How does all that play out?
In regards to Sticky Piston, they're essentially a sort of a server hosting company. They've been supporting us since the very beginning. That's how we generally host our actual survival multiplayer world on a creative server. They actually also do what they do free trials, so that's where they host all their mini games. Last few years they've been brilliant for themselves, so they help ourselves a little bit with the setup. For example, with UHCs, normally obviously when we had less players it wasn't as much of an issue, but last few times we've done it, our capacity has gone beyond what we expected, so they have been brilliant. So increasing essentially how well the server will handle, increasing sort of performance for it with us, just like that. No questions asked. They really have done us wonders, sort of helping out with setup on the side of things.
Yeah, they're also really passionate about supporting charity across the board. That's something that's really important to them. And they have always loved working with us in what we do each year and seeing our events grow. And I know that they also collaborate with other communities on charity events throughout the year. So that's something that is that they're really big on. And as Matty touched on, it's kind of funny because for our events each year, they do kind of get bigger and bigger in terms of the number of people involved. So each year I kind of, like I get all the UHC teams and I go to Sticky Piston and I'm like, well, we have to, make sure that the server's going to be okay. These are the numbers we're looking at. And it's just like every single year we have to do like some sort of testing because it's always bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's actually, if you're interested in hearing a little conversation, listeners, we had an episode of the podcast a little way back where we actually talked a little bit more in depth, did a whole episode of the podcast about server hosting and all that entails. So if you're interested in that sort of conversation, go and have a look back. There are backlog. There's my little bit of shameless self-promotion for today.
Just the one.
So once, so obviously we've got the game side of things. Sam, how do you go about choosing a charity? Obviously, that's such a big decision to make.
It is.
You're raising lots of money, thousands of pounds in most cases.
Yeah.
And you obviously want to make sure it goes to the right charity that are doing work
right.
For the right type of thing. So how do you even comprehend making that decision?
So there's a couple things to kind of like discuss when it comes to this subject. Something that Fee and I have discussed a lot about that I think probably a lot of the group doesn't even realize. We do try to always go with smaller charities as opposed to large, big worldwide name charities. And there's a reason for that. And sometimes it's something that I do want to bring up because sometimes when I watch streams and recordings back, there's participants from different countries who are like, oh yeah, this is like a UK-based charity or this is an Ireland-based charity. So the first thing is, with a large worldwide-based charity, our effect and our donations, we've kind of found through research that it doesn't like really make as much of an impact as we would like versus if we're supporting a smaller charity that's also doing something really amazing. So we do try to, it's kind of like supporting small business if you can think of relating it to that. So we do try and do that and kind of rotate through different regions or different countries. So that's kind of the first thing. Although the second thing is we don't want the decision to be just us. We want it to be a group decision. So what we also do is we get suggestions from everybody in our Discord. And when we get, we ask for suggestions first, if anybody has any. And then we'll do research on them. And then we put them up for a group vote. And so everybody can anonymously vote together for which ones they want to support. Because this, for us, it's not like my event and Fee's event or Matty's event. It's an event that's for all of us. And so it's important that we share those group decisions together. So, we do a group vote, and we always do like the majority vote wins, and we always keep the other suggestions for future events because we've always planned to keep doing events. We've never had a stop to doing these events. So we do always keep all of the suggestions. We try to, switch around the regions and hope to kind of cover them all eventually.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, it's like you said, I love that analogy of a bit like supporting a small business. You know that big even international businesses can obviously will do really, really well regardless of how in the scheme of things a few £1,000s will make, whereas if you're going to give that to a smaller charity or a business or something, it really can make the world a difference. And obviously that's what you are aspiring to do and the whole community wants to do. It's making a difference it could just be one life. It could be hundreds. It could be thousands. But I guess it's that it's trying to make a difference is the overarching aim, I guess, of the whole thing.
Yeah, and we've also had amazing just communication and relationships with all of the charities that we've supported when we reach out to them, because they've all been smaller but growing over the years. But when we reach out to them, they've all been so kind. And a lot of them, they really, or at least at the time, they were not so familiar with like gaming live stream charity events. That's kind of like a new thing to some of these charities. So, you know, we would write to them and they'd be like, oh, well, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing? And so, you know, Fee and I would explain, but, you know, like, kind of like when you're working with a smaller charity, you're able to kind of like communicate easier as well, and that's nice to have. And yeah, you know, it's been a pleasure working with everybody, and yeah, I don't know, I think it's something that's worked well, and you know, I know sometimes like it's like, oh, like we did Mind this year and that's in the UK, but our Discord group really has people from all around the world. And sometimes I think some people don't understand that, but it's, you know, I just wanted to explain like the reasoning. It's, you know, even though it's for the UK this year, we do make that effort to switch around the regions and really make sure that our donations are making an impact with where they go, because like no matter where they go, there are people out there that are struggling with mental health, and that's what's important to us, is, you know, making that difference for someone.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned the actual how it runs. It's a live streamed event. It's obviously a gaming community. Gaming on video gaming isn't in real life. You can't have people gathering round, really, especially in the current climate. So it's live streamed, and that's how the money's raised. So Matty, what's the whole, like, that must be a mad thing to even start trying to organise. What is the process of trying to live stream such a big event? For it could be over 2 days of live streaming. How do you go about doing all of that?
So essentially, when it comes to the live stream aspect, to be honest, the most difficult part of it is time-wise. We've got to pick peak times first. So it's all well and good doing something, for example, say that suited my time the best. So my time, ideal time for me, would say be 11 in the morning, 12 sort of, so lunchtime time. But then you've got to cater for all other places, so such as America, that's suddenly easily 7 a.m. or even earlier. So main issue to begin with is trying to balance times. Luckily, we do generally stick to around similar times each time. What we found to work best. So about start at 6 p.m. my time, and we go through from there, and having the actual main event sort of a couple of hours later. When it comes to setting up, it's not too bad. As James, same as setting up a general stream. Probably the hardest bit is making sure everyone is linked in, everyone has what they need. So when we do the UHC, several people will all be streaming, everyone. So it's trying to make sure everyone knows where to go to the charity, everyone has the links. There are always some hiccups, such as this year I got a message from Sam, about 5 minutes before we were about to start? Was it Sam?
Yeah, you're talking about the stream bot.
Yeah, we don't have a stream bot, Wang. Can you see if you can do that? And I was just like, I have never touched this before, but I will do my best.
Yeah, I might have been doing too many things at once, and I might have forgotten about the stream bot. But Matty was amazing, and
I absolutely nailed it.
I was like, "This is what we need. These are the commands. Can you do this for me, really, really quick, please?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Please, just make it happen."
Never touched it before. I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a go. Diving on deep. That's the best side of things. If it went wrong, it's another funny story."
Yeah. Oh, that's. I think whatever you do, as much planning as you could do, because I'm sure that you're planning months and months before these actual events happen. I think it was, what was it, May time when you were even
Probably
choosing the charity.
earlier than
Even
that.
before
So-
that. I think I had
Yeah.
sent the initial invites out back in maybe even like March.
Yeah, I was thinking sort of March, towards the beginning of March, you were mentioning about it. By the
We
end, it was
started
like, yeah, we're doing
planning
it.
this one way earlier than previous ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And the reason was,
it's-
you know, as we get just older, if it's a scary word to use.
I'm still in the prime of my life. I'm still 18, a number. Yeah, let's go with that.
Maddie's still trying to enjoy his youth. As we just get older as a group, as there's more kids being born, there's a bigger balance with life and free time to be able to organize these events. But it's something that we still have the passion to do. It's something we are still very connected to. And it's something our community really enjoys. Like every year, our Discord, which we keep open all year round, a lot of people stay in it throughout the year, just kind of like chilling, waiting for the next year. And when it comes to next year, someone's always like, "Hey, you guys doing another charity event this year?" They kind of like bring it up even before we do, and we're like,
yeah,
we're doing it, we're doing
We're
it.
doing
And
it.
then
We're
it's like,
just bear with it. Bear with us.
we're doing it. Don't worry. So yeah, this year I knew, and I talked to Fee about it. I was like, Fee, the only way we're gonna have this happen is if we plan like months in advance. And she's like, yeah, you're right. So we did start the planning really early, but even still, there were still things that I somehow left out till like 5 minutes before we go live.
Yep.
It happens, but we make it work.
I think there will always be that. Yeah, there will definitely probably always be those cases
Yeah.
where you're like, we forgot the stream button, or we forgot to press go live.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It's. I think that's a broad ranging thing that could go into any topic really. Like last minute. It's that it's whole planning. But I think the planning, it can be really underestimated, especially when you're not part of the organisation team. You're not one of the admins. You're not part of the co-founders. You're just maybe a participant in the event, or you're just watching the event,
Mhm.
and you don't see the amount of planning and preparation that has to go into these things. Like you were saying, like sending out invites to communities in March, April time, and the event was in July.
Yeah.
There's tons of work which goes into it, which is, it makes the event really special. The hard work that goes into it, it really pays off. I mean, you can see the community's amazing. The events are always incredible. Everyone has a great time, and importantly, lots of money is raised. So it's really, really, it's great to watch, but obviously a lot of hard work. I bet you after the event you just a big sigh of relief.
Oh yeah, I'm still kind of like just winding down. I'm still kind of in a cool down mode. I mean, it's so exciting and it's so amazing, but like my brain just kind of has this period of like, okay, we did it again. We can like,
yeah.
I won't
This
mention
has
the
just made me-
spreadsheets then, Sam. Like there's organising and then there's getting everything done. I am very much on the fly sort of person, and Sam is very much organise everything. So we kind of clash a little bit with things, and it's great. It's the best fun. Like, I'll be honest, with the mini games we had set up this year, I had a good rough idea what we were doing. Nothing set in stone, but I had a good, very sort of wide range of choices. Sam was like, no, I need to know exactly where it is. I was like, it's weird. Well, it depends. Well, we've got to see this. Like, for example, if with the mini games, like I said earlier, if only two people
I
joined up.
didn't know exactly what you were doing because there were like multiple points throughout the event, especially during like while I was getting all of the UHC teams like into the server and making sure their teams were set up. Like on the actual live stream, was Sarge and Matty still running mini games, and there's like a period of time where I don't know how long I'm gonna take because I need to make sure everybody's in the server for UHC to start, and I'm going over kind of like some background rules, and Sarge and Matty are always amazing every year. And I'm like, I was literally like, guys, just do whatever you want. Like,
Cool, basically. And it's like, yeah, let's try this. And I'll be honest, I just go to something that I enjoy, because most of the time when that happens, everyone who is playing the mini games are in the UHC, so it's like it's just going to be me and Sarah. So if I go to something I enjoy, I'm going to be a lot more vocal, make the stream more enjoyable for everyone watching on that basis. So.
Definitely, and I think a big part of that is being good communicators between each other. You need to be able to communicate between the whole team.
Yeah.
Is that something you two have learned? I'm sure it expands to the wider organisation team. Is that something you've had to learn?
Extremely huge in our team to have like trust within the team, and I think that's extremely I don't know if underrated is the word, but you know, a lot of people, because I do a lot of like the Discord communication, and people say thank you Sam, like this is amazing or whatever, and every time I say no, like thank the team, like the team is the one that's doing the work, because I can't do this alone. There's absolutely no way. I put a lot of trust in the team, and Fee puts a lot of trust in the team, because we have to. There's no other way that this would happen. So for example, Sarge, who is our main streamer, he's been the main streamer for all of our charity events, and he's been on our organization team every year. And he kills it every time. He like sets up all of the artwork, and you know, I give him the artwork, I give him the trailers, and he kills it. And Tiggy as well, who is our donation reader, she lives in Australia, I believe, as well. So she gets up at like ridiculous times for these events.
Yeah.
But and this year I had to help a lot with donations, so I wasn't really on the mainstream this year. And Tiggy was like, Sam, you know, I'm probably just gonna read through summaries because there's going to be a lot more donations than expected this year. And I was like, Tiggy, I trust you. And she's like, there's a lot more teams, it's hard to jump around to all the teams. I was like, I trust you, you do you, girl. And you know, and you know, I wasn't there on the mainstream, you know, I don't know what everybody was talking about, but I trust my team, and that's really important to be able to have that, and I cherish that so much. And I'm so appreciative of the team that we have, and the teams that we have had, because it hasn't always been the same team, but the teams that we have had to do this in every event, it's been amazing. And I know Fee would say the same thing. She just can't be here today, unfortunately, but seriously, Matty has been amazing. Matty really like did so many things this year that like were so helpful to me, and he set up all of like these extra command blocks to help with donations to make things go faster. And I mean, he was playing in the UHC event, but you know, he did a lot of UHC setup with me behind the scenes. So seriously, like having a team that you can trust, there's nothing I could ask for more.
It's just incredible. I think it's the wide-reaching effect of if everyone chips in, you can really make something absolutely incredible. It's just great to hear about it. It's amazing, and to witness it and be a part of the events as well. I actually wanted to ask you, we talked a lot about the setting up of the event, we talked about the running of the event. What happens once you press end stream? Obviously you raised all this money, but currently it's not with the charity. What happens once the stream day is over, once the event's finished? What happens then?
A lot of rum. Well, that's the first thing anyway, but
He's not lying.
Oh dear. So once that step's over, what? So I guess it's happened recently as well. What's been the process? I guess talking to the charities, giving the money to them. How does that all go about?
The money, the donation page is through Just Giving, and they automatically take care of sending the donations to Mind. And the donation page stays open as well. So if there's like extra donations that come in, and Just Giving has like a setup where I think it's weekly or something like that, where they send the donations over. But it keeps the page open, so if you want to continue to use it, it will stay open, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And then after the stream is over, there's then, I usually take a couple days to decompress.
Definitely.
But then, there's kind of like the after event stuff that I need to take care of, which is like making sure all of the streamers have artwork for YouTube. That's something that happens. I need to make sure that the mainstream, we have like the recordings and the VODs, everything downloaded so I can like get that up on YouTube. That's like where I am right now, actually, is uploading that stuff to YouTube. I saw a lot of people have already uploaded their stuff to YouTube, which is really cool. I've kind of been like watching through some of their things in my free time. And something we introduced this year that we didn't have last year, one of our organizers, Kirby, he is really big on doing proper UHC stats. So he did some full UHC stats for everybody, which was really fun. So he did that after the charity event for both UHCs. And so there's always some things that we need to do afterwards. But with the donations, that is automatically taken care of, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that raises a little bit, relieves a bit of stress off your back.
Yeah,
not have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Do you stay in contact with the charities once the money's been sent over? How do you just leave it to them?
We do. And in fact, they tweeted out to us multiple times throughout the event. And once I get our videos uploaded to YouTube, I will send them an email so that they have all of the footage and everything. But yeah, we do always reach out to them, of course. And it's always important to us to kind of have that contact.
Yeah.
And actually, additionally, what we didn't really touch on yet is the music for our trailers as well, because that's another layer to this with making the trailer and everything. So, which that comes beforehand, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's someone else who's really involved, and takes a lot of time. So we always do a trailer every event, which helps, with advertising, and we do a lot of yeah helps with the hype, and it also we play it in our event in the beginning, and
Yeah.
We do a lot of research for like music for the event to find like the right music that fits kind of like the theme of the event. And this year we found a group called Music for Mental Health, and they're a group that literally makes music for mental health. But yeah, but their music is literally amazing. And they're college students.
All of these links, just for the listeners, we'll link all of this sort of stuff down in the description if you're interested in finding a little bit more about Mind, music, mental health, and everything else we've mentioned in today's episode podcast. It'll all be linked down below.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and so we had a song of theirs, "You Are Worth It," and we reached out to them. They have their own Discord. They're all college students who they're musicians, singers, writers, recorders. They work together, making all sorts of different songs. I'll give you their YouTube channel as well. But they just have awesome music, and they were really excited to collaborate with us, and so they let us use their song for our trailer. And our trailer is also used to just kind of have like a overview of the event. So it has all of the information with like the teams who are playing, everybody who's involved. Also just gives like a general overview of everything, where you can donate. So I also just want to give a big thank you to Music for Mental Health. And we've worked with like different musicians in the past as well. But that's like another layer to the and it's really cool just kind of like see everything evolve, and the people that you meet over time, and yeah, so after the event, I did reach out to Music for Mental Health, and I let them know how much we raised, and they were so excited. And so yeah, I like make sure I reach out to all of the groups who are involved, and Sticky Piston was in both of the charity events, so they already knew how much we raised, but they were so thrilled, and they said to me, they were like, "Oh my God, can't believe like another great event, another great year." So they were really excited, and yeah, so we do try to stay in touch with everybody, of course.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, that's really important, isn't it? Because if you want to continue to be able to run these events, being able to grow the community is more important. It's super important because it allows for it to get a wider reach. The more people that know about it, the more people that are able to donate. Yeah. The more money that can be raised, the more people's lives that can be affected by these, just raising this money for different charities. It's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible just hearing about your experiences of running all this. I was wondering if there's anything else you wanted to mention about running these events, Matty or Sam.
I don't know. Just try and have fun is the main thing I'd suggest. If anyone else wants to try it, the main thing is to make sure you're having fun with it. There's obviously raising money for charity is always a good thing. Don't bog yourself down over it. Make sure you take the time, plan it out so you can have fun.
There's a lot of people that are subs as well in like the UHCs. There are a lot of people that join in that are really just like, hey, I don't have a team, but I'm happy to help out another team, or maybe they're like a fifth person from a community, so they like couldn't fit on their team, but they're like willing to help out another team. We had a lot of those this year. And it was actually really helpful because there's always some people who end up having to drop out due to, I don't know, any personal thing, or they just can't make the event afterwards. So that, it's like really nice to see that, because, you know, it's like just people kind of helping other people across communities as well. And, you know, I watch some of the footage, or I go around in the event, and, you know, you see everybody just having fun and getting along. And it's like a really cool thing, kind of like this weird outer body experience. Just like bringing everybody together and yeah, it's all about
It's definitely something to be incredibly proud of.
Yeah,
Not only being able to raise money for charities, being able to bring together an amazing community, such a wide community that's continuing to grow, and people are making friends within it. It is definitely something to be very proud of.
Thank you. It's very cool, and it's all about fun and just doing something good and putting good back into the world.
It's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you guys. I'm sure we could go on much longer, just talk about all sorts of the ins and outs of it. But we have to wrap it up somewhere. As is tradition on the podcast, I get my guests to rate their experience on the podcast out of 5. So, Matty, what is your experience out of 5?
Out of 5. So you were going to get the full 5, but you absolutely nailed that introduction. So I was expecting the mess up. I was expecting the giggles from it, but you nailed it. So, full 5 on that base. That's been a good one.
I'm so pleased. Sam, how about you? How's your experience on the podcast been?
I would have to match it, so then you get a full 10 between the two of us, because you said that this was the first time you had 2 guests.
It is our first time we've had 2 guests, so we've got a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, there you go.
We can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
We can't go wrong with that.
Good things come in threes.
So before we... Exactly.
No, don't say anything.
Before we wrap up today's episode of the podcast, Sam or Matty, either one of you, where can people find out a bit more about Casa Nirvana? How can they get involved in the future and future events? Where can you guys be found online?
We have a Twitter. It's twitter.com/Casa Nirvana SMP. We also have a YouTube page, which I'll provide to you to link below. And we have a charity Discord. I'll give you the link to that. So if anybody wants to join the Discord for a future event, you're welcome to join it. It usually stays pretty quiet throughout the year till we do another event, but it always wakes back up eventually.
Yes, gets a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
Goes into a little bit of hibernation.
Basically, yeah.
Winter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both ever so much for joining me. Similarly, I can be found all over the internet. I can be found at youtube.com/Rover1 and over on Twitter at twitter.com/Rover1_. Throw a quick search, you'll find me. Thank you ever so much for listening to today's episode of the podcast. If you have enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, why not consider supporting us, sharing it to a friend, or listening or subscribing over on YouTube? Helps us out all a lot, and my words are getting very mixed up. We've been going for 15 minutes, so that's why. The Rover Ramble podcast can be found on all different platforms. You can find it on Spotify, any preferred podcasting platform. You can find it through a quick search. Thank you ever so much for listening to today's episode of the podcast. It has been a pleasure having you, Matty and Sam, on here.
And thank you so much, Rover. It's been a pleasure being here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been amazing to talk about your experiences with raising money for using Minecraft as a tool and all that entails. It's been absolutely incredible. But that is all we have time for in today's episode of the podcast. If you've enjoyed, make sure to, I was going to say leave a like, but we're not on YouTube. Follow the podcast, do all that kind of jazz. Yeah, we did it. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.